She doesn't even go here.
I'm bi, actually.
Excuse me. Could the ugly, untalented gays please report to the principal's office?
Hi, I'm Kurt Hummel, and I'll be auditioning for the role of kicker.
Hello.
Welcome in, you guys. Pull up a chair, grab some pancakes.
Maybe wear a mask or two for Mission Impossible.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you guys so much for tuning in to Not So Straight Nerds. Today, we're having kind of a preemptive episode. Today, we are going to just kind of be breaking down the Mission Impossible franchise.
Yeah, so far. Right
correct.
before the last one comes out. So we'll see.
Mission Impossible Final Reckoning comes out later this month in May.
Mm-hmm.
So we, in the last month...
Just like 2 weeks, basically.
Yeah, it's coming up pretty fast. Which is crazy that May's going by as fast as it is.
It really is. I'm excited for this weekend because we have Final Destination Bloodlines, and then we have Final Reckoning Mission Impossible. Or Mission Impossible. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
Anyways.
right.
We have a lot of final things this month.
And it's, May, so finals.
Oh.
Oh.
I hope y'all are doing well. Anyways.
So, warning, this will be very spoiler-y for all of the Mission Impossible movies thus far. That is the first Mission Impossible back in I believe it was 98.
96, I think.
96. All the way to 2023's Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. So,
which was just a couple years ago.
Yeah, and I have never seen any of these movies before, and they were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think especially the later ones are crazy good.
Once it finds its footing and it finds like the pillars of what makes a Mission Impossible film work, they do it really well. And I have an interesting thing that connects the last few. So, that's another thing to point out. So we'll get there.
Yeah, I'm very excited to do this. We haven't really done an episode that kind of covers a whole movie franchise before.
Yeah, I don't think we have.
So we've talked about doing something similar to this for some of the other ones. We've talked about how to possibly go about doing the MCU, because that's something we super consider DC and other kind of franchises that we've gone through. So let us know if this format works for you guys or not, or if there's anything you guys recommend, or any other franchise you want us to kind of break down. We have a lot to talk about most of them. So.
Maybe we'll do something for Doomsday.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That would be a fun little lead up to it.
Especially since they clearly are building like 3 different groups, like the Avengers, the Thunderbolts, but now, spoilers, I guess if you haven't seen it.
The Young Avengers. Although
the new Avengers.
That's public knowledge now.
Yeah, that's true. So, and then the Fantastic Four. So that would be fun to do like a little, here are the films that make up this team, and then like the Fantastic Four films, maybe. Something like that, a little small section.
Ooh,
I don't know.
Fantastic Four doing a Fantastic Four catch-up.
Oh, that would be cool, actually.
Yeah, so some fun stuff we could do here. Let us know if you're interested in any of that. And we would love to cater to the requests of the audience. But before we get too much deeper into this conversation, vibe check.
Vibe check. I'm so excited. I was so excited for an excuse to get you to watch all of these films. And our friends watched some of the films. One of them watched most of the films. So I'm just very excited. And, it's a journey because I think people nowadays, they expect like perfect films. And it doesn't really start out that way. It definitely does. Like, it plays with some interesting things. And Tom Cruise is just so passionate about it. And you can see that. And he does such fun things within his movies that, it's hard to be mad at it. But it does take a little while to really get the ball rolling on this is an amazing franchise. But once you're there, you're there. And it was so exciting to get to the point where instead of just begging to watch the next movie, it was let's watch the next movie because the last one was really good. And so that felt really good. I was very excited to get to that point. I'm a little nervous about this film because a couple things I've heard lately. But I feel like overall, I'm taking it with a grain of salt. It's 2 people with no credibility. So we'll see. I'm still going into it feeling good.
Sure.
Until, because I think it has a very limited release, like a week before its release, and so we'll see what happens then.
Okay.
But we'll see. And it's actually premiering at the Cannes Festival right now, which is
That's
crazy.
interesting.
Yeah. So, and I know some people that are huge fans of the franchise going there and seeing it. So we'll see if they give any like little hints of what they felt about it. So, yeah. But I'm just excited to talk about the
I'm
franchise.
very interested to see what reception is to it, especially as it's being sold as, you know, the final Mission Impossible movie.
Which, we'll see.
I'm interested to see if it is.
We'll see. Because, I mean, even if you know who dies, so did John Wick. So
Yeah, fair.
that doesn't really mean anything. So not nowadays. If it makes money, it doesn't mean anything. So we'll see. We'll see how it does, and we'll see if somebody dies. I don't know. Maybe not.
We shall see.
We'll see. But yeah, I'm excited. I grew up on some of these films and then kind of watched them in order later. My dad always watched them just like whenever they were on cable when I grew up. So I was always around this franchise. But then I watched it properly for the first time and fell in love with it. And so I'm just so excited. It's like one of the most excited I've been in a while for one of our episodes, I would say. Yeah, we got some fun stuff too. It's a little fun format. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, do you want to just start with the first one?
Sure. We are going to kind of go through
s-
our thoughts and
Yeah.
general consensus of these movies in order.
Yeah.
So, like we said at the beginning, spoilers for all of the movies going forward.
Yeah. Since they have all been released for a while, just assume, like, we're just assuming that people have watched them. Or if not, you've been warned. I mean, we are going to go in order, but we might go a little bit out of order. So don't, like, rely on that. You know, I've seen the first 6, but not the 7th. You've still been warned. We might jump around a little bit. So, yeah. There we go. Not so much of a non-spoiler section this time.
Yeah. So, and that being said, at least watch the last 4.
Yeah, for sure. I would say watch the first one too, just to get like a little bit of an understanding of like where it came from and now where it's at. Because the last 4, I don't want to say the connection now, but it has a connection with somebody in the crew that has worked on the last 4 films.
So great.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying it outright, okay? I wrote it down. We'll get to it. Yeah, we'll get to it later.
Okay. I'll let her cook.
But, yeah, the last 4 are actually really good.
Yeah,
So.
they're insanely good.
Yeah.
It was
I mean,
really
like-
fun to see the franchise level up binging through it.
Yeah. And I feel like bare minimum you need to watch the 7th one before the 8th one because it is a part 1. But you're not going to know the depth of these characters, where they've been, where they are now. So like just watch it all. Just do it. It's fine.
Consume.
Yeah, consume media. It's great. They probably, more likely than not, have a deal going on right now where you can buy it on like iTunes for some sort of deal. So just go do that. Yeah. Anyways, or maybe I think they're streaming somewhere too.
I would
Like
guess
Paramount?
Paramount? If
Yeah,
they're
because that's who
anywhere.
makes it. So,
That
anyways,
being
let's
said,
just
Mission
get right
Impossible
into number 1.
Uno.
Yeah, just Mission Impossible,
Yeah.
but it's the first. 1996.
Crazy.
Young Tom Cruise. What a hottie. Like
Yeah.
he's still very handsome, but like he just like had a look, he just has that star power look, and I love that for him.
Indeed.
But it is wild seeing him in that movie and you're like, whoa, he looks so different now. And I forgot which movie you said, but you were like, he looks older in this film. Like he still looks good, but like I don't know, something happened. I forgot which one it was.
It might have been 3.
Okay.
It was either
3
3
or 4.
or Ghost Protocol.
Yeah, I want to say it was Ghost Protocol. I feel.
Because I think
It might
there
have
was a
been that
big
one.
gap between those two.
Yeah. So what you gonna do? He's still doing those stunts. He's still running.
Which is
He's still running.
crazy. Love that for him.
Yeah. Anyways, well, let's just get right in. Mission
Go for
Impossible
it.
1. What is this about? It's like a spy thriller. You have Ethan Hunt. He's the main character. You have iconic stunts. You have little
Christopher
spy
Walken.
Yeah, you have
Bird
a
from
great
Seven.
cast. Right. I thought at first that you
Bird
said
Seven.
Bird from blank, and I was like, huh? And then I processed separate.
Right.
So,
You're doing great.
anyways, yeah, I'm doing great. So this film is like just so like it's just such a classic. Like you watch it and you feel like it's a classic film. It has such fun spy things. It's like I don't know. I guess if it was done nowadays, it would probably be cliche. But back then, like it was so fresh and new, and I love that for them. Like they had a gum that if you chew it, it'll turn into an explosive. That's just so awesome.
Yeah,
and I love that.
I
don't know.
It kind of gives me the vibes of when I went back and started watching some of those like classic horror movies.
Yes,
And the idea of
yeah.
like, wow, this is really cheesy now, but like this is
kind of awesome.
Like this is the first step into like something becoming cheesy. Like
Yeah.
the reason that this is a cheesy trope is because this movie did it first.
Exactly.
And it's like that's such a crazy. It's so crazy to look back on the things that like set standards.
Yeah. Well, like I think of that when I watch The Shining and I see that iconic scream, that or like Psycho or something. I'm like, that's literally Scream Queen right there.
Yeah.
That is like, that's just great. And then I appreciate that this franchise, it does like grow within the spy gadgets and what they're able to do. It grows with it with the time. It grows with its budget. But they still have some classic things from the first one. Like they do those masks every movie, and I love that because they're so confident in it, and so it doesn't come off as like cheesy or like, oh my gosh, you've done this so many times. It's a classic. It's like part of the brand, and I love that. Same with the stunts. Like you always have to do a stunt every movie. I forgot to write that down. I was gonna write down what each iconic stunt was from each movie. I feel like I have most of them though.
Sure.
The second and third, I don't know if I wrote it down, but
I wrote down the ones I remembered.
yeah.
And the ones that I needed to like remember which one is in which movie.
Yeah.
So, but I will say Mission Impossible, I loved the opening scene, the first scene where it's like the mask in the fake room.
Yep.
And I love every time they kind of do a scene that is ode to that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how they just kind of keep upping that kind of trope throughout these movies.
Yep.
To a point where like it's never felt
Tired.
overplayed
No.
at all, which
Yeah.
it so easily could.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, everyone's wearing a mask. Anyone can be anyone. And
Yeah.
that's just what this franchise is, but it is not.
Yeah. It's done really well to where it doesn't feel like it's not like they do masks all the time, so it doesn't feel like you're distrustful of every character that comes on screen. It's done well where you understand or guess that it could be a mask like one or two times in a movie at the right time, and you're like, oh, this is great, because you enjoy the scene up until that, and then you're like, oh my god, this is a mask, isn't it? This is Ethan, or like this is Benji, or like
Yeah.
one of the classics, and then it is, and it's great. So yeah. So you have separate notes, right?
No, all my notes are on there. I just haven't
okay.
any of it.
Okay. So I put what an iconic stunt that holds up to today. I'm talking about the scene, because they have like a red poster with a silhouette of Tom Cruise doing whatever the stunt was in that movie, and his is where he's like hanging from the wire and he's like all like splayed out because he's trying to balance. And I just love that whole scene. It's so like, it has such high tension, but it's also so great. And it made me like, you can tell that it doesn't have the budget of like this past movie, but I don't think it needed to. I feel like it really fit within the movie.
Sure, yeah.
And it's not just the stunt, it's like everything that leads up to it, and then how do they get out of it when something goes wrong. It's great. It's very
It's
classic.
a very impressive
Yeah.
movie. It's the only movie that has a budget under $100 million.
Oh yeah.
So, and it's the most profitable of all of them.
Yeah.
So, and it's definitely I almost don't want to say a great movie, but it's a really solid movie.
It's a solid start to the franchise, and it
It's-
still holds up the way a couple of the others don't, I would say. Maybe.
I would say it's
know,
still
maybe that's too
towards,
harsh.
I don't know. It gave us so much greatness, and
Yeah.
it set so many great tropes, and it created the character of Ethan.
Yeah.
And
I feel like
Luther as well.
it's easy to like really praise this film when you have the second one following it, because then
Sure.
you're like, you see all these things and they're set up great, maybe they could be put together better, but then you see the second film and it's like they do something totally different. It's like, why? Like, it makes you realize how well some of these things worked in the first film, but then the later films just like develop them so much
Sure.
more. I would say.
I will say this first one, it feels like they didn't know they were going to make a franchise. And
Yeah.
honestly, watching the first one, it doesn't seem like that's like a movie meant to be a franchise, and it feels
Yeah.
almost like to me. Honestly, I had the sensation of like, it's interesting that this movie continued to be like a big franchise.
Yeah.
Because it definitely is such a smaller movie in the first one.
Yeah.
Compared to what a big event all of the later ones become.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still really solid.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree. It's very enjoyable.
it's very interesting.
Well, and I think that's partially because I don't know the specifics because it's been a while since I read about this, and I may be wrong in some parts, but I want to say I read something where they didn't really like Hollywood didn't really believe in this film, and Tom Cruise put a lot of what he had into this film, and so I feel like you can see that in certain areas, and then it became so profitable. I mean, it still had an $80 million budget. Is that what I saw?
80 million is what they
Yeah,
said,
so I
yes.
mean that's not nothing, especially for 1996. I mean that's not nothing nowadays.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It does seem like something maybe Hollywood didn't know was going to take off, and then it did, and then they just ran with it.
Sure. Oh, for sure, as they do.
Yeah, and by the end, I'm glad they did.
Oh,
So
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
And I think it's interesting. I think maybe what the later ones do so much better is that the first movie is such a solo movie.
yeah,
And I think maybe that's why
Mm-hmm.
the other movies later on like focus on the team,
Yeah.
and making sure everyone feels like a character interacting with him, and it's not
Yeah.
just like, oh, here's person on his team 1, person on his team 2,
yeah,
which is essentially what a lot of his team is at the very beginning before they all get killed.
Yeah.
You don't feel attached to any of them,
Mm-hmm.
and it just kind of that's one of the big starting points of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't. So even though it's clearly supposed to be a big deal, at least to me emotionally, it didn't strike any chord.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it didn't help that some way somehow I knew that the mission goes astray and he gets blamed for it.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you how. Actually, I think in the game Lego Dimensions, there's a Mission Impossible level that you can get, and
okay.
it goes through the first movie. I think that's why
Okay.
I know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But-
Well, I guess it spoiled it for you.
A little bit, but and then also they kept trying to like, oh my god, and I don't know, I really don't like it when movies do the, oh, who's the villain, when it's like really obvious.
Yeah. That's fair.
I'd almost rather you make it like impossible to guess who it is than make it really obvious who it is, and have your smart character not be able to figure it out, or at least not until way later in the movie.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something I want to shout out Fallout for doing, where it makes you wonder for most of the movie, come on, like Ethan's really smart. Like, come on, Ethan, you have to figure this out, right? And then he does. He does know. He is aware. And I think that is done much better than this film. But I mean, Ethan was a lot earlier in his career, I guess. He wasn't quite portrayed. Maybe that's the reason he knew in Fallout. He was like, I know better. I know how to spot one of you people because the first one. I don't know. I guess I don't mind that I wasn't attached to them. I was more just so engrossed in the drama of it all. Like, oh my God, his entire team died. That sucks. What the heck?
I don't know.
But anyways.
But it is still a solid movie.
Yeah.
So, and anything else to say about MI1? Oh, and I like the handler lady, the person who like had the codes that she was trying to buy from Ethan, or I want to say Bert, but his name's not Bert. Christopher Walken's character.
I forgot his character's name. I know who you're
I
talking
think that's
about.
another thing. Like, I don't have to look back to know the character names in the later movies. For
Yeah.
the life of me, could not tell you a single character out of that first one other than
That's
Ethan and
true.
Luther.
That's true. And speaking of Luther, very happy they introduced him. That's when they
Yeah.
introduced him. Fun fact, he is the only other character besides Ethan Hunt that is in all 7 films, but now 8 films.
Indeed.
I read something the other day that's because somebody, I don't know if it's the actor of Luther or somebody else, said he was tired of, I don't know if he just said like black characters in movies or if he said like specifically like the best friends or something. There was some trope that he was tired of them like being killed off or whatever. And Tom Cruise was apparently really receptive to that and said, yeah, you're right. Like, Luther's awesome. Let's keep him around. And so he's been for all 7 films. It was something like that. Some comment. I didn't like it. There's probably an article and I didn't read the whole article, but yeah.
No, but that's definitely
and a good
trope
choice. Oh, yeah.
You should be avoiding.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And I'm really
And
glad
that's
he
very ahead of its
listened.
time, I would say. Also
Yeah.
For the late 90s.
Yeah. So, and what a payoff, because Luther's awesome.
Yeah.
He is one of the, like, main 3 awesome, like, group that they have. And, yeah.
Yeah, the franchise was really good at finding the characters that were worth keeping around.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the characters that ultimately didn't need to stay around did not.
Yeah.
So, and I would say there's one I would want back aggressively. But
Well, I have 1 or 2. Mm-hmm.
So it's all, I don't know.
Yeah, and I do feel like it's valid, the complaint that the female characters are always, like, killed off. But I will say, I feel like the first time we get an interesting one, she stays around. Which, you know, is partially because of the writing. The writers could have made the past female characters interesting. Well, actually, besides Julia. Well, yeah, I could say Julia, too. She's the first one who stayed around in ways. But at the time, I was talking about Ilsa. But also Julia. That's a good point. But yeah, the others are just not developed well, so I don't find them particularly interesting. You know. Oh,
Roxy?
don't chew on the cords. Don't chew on
You'll
it.
ruin the podcast.
It'll ruin the tour. But yeah, no, that's all I have to say about the first film.
Yeah,
Solid intro.
A really solid start, and even more solid. A good movie.
Yeah,
A good movie and a solid
good movie.
foundation.
Yeah. And then we get to 2.
And there was 2.
Then there was 2.
Ugh.
It's like, it's almost like it felt like there was a genre change there. It just, hey.
Hey, Maddie.
She's like inspecting. She's making sure we're doing our stuff right.
The table's gonna collapse and it's gonna be crazy.
But I will say, 2 has it has its like little moments.
For sure. I love the idea
It's not a
of what they're
horrible
going
movie, you know. It's just, kind of boring and definitely the worst one.
For. Yeah, and it's, I don't know. I couldn't even, it just feels like it's too convoluted,
Yeah.
and that's saying something.
And the
for a
side
Mission
characters
Impossible
don't
movie.
work well, and
I would say the main girl also
yeah.
is not great.
Mhm.
The
There's just not a
villain's
lot.
not there for me.
No. Even Ethan Hunt feels almost not like Ethan Hunt at times. It's so weird.
It feels like
But-
they're almost trying to transition him to be more Bond-like in this movie, and like have the one-off girl, like, because even that character feels a lot like Halle Berry in like the one Bond movie that she was in.
Okay.
So like the thief that's being brought in on the mission to, save the world or whatnot. And I will say I really like the idea of the virus and cure thing that they're going for in this movie. And I love the twist that the scientist was trying to smuggle out the virus. They're trying to figure out how.
Yeah.
And the virus was inside of him.
Yeah,
I thought was a great reveal.
I agree.
And this is also the one where he had to jump into the lab from the rooftops.
Yeah,
And that was a very fun scene to watch.
I agree.
I think it definitely, that scene, I will say, that whole stunt is more ambitious than I think any stunt in the first movie.
Yeah.
Which you love to see it level up.
They definitely.
There.
I bet they got good reception on the stunt and went, okay, let's do more.
Yeah.
Let's do more. Because I bet Tom Cruise was willing to do more.
Oh, for sure.
He's willing to do anything, really.
And then, but then, like, the last, like, the finale of it all, where he's, like, fighting in, like, the weird, like, beach or desert, I can't even remember which one it is. It's just so forgettable. Like, everything outside of those
I don't
things
remember
are very
either.
forgettable in this
It's
movie.
on a beach.
A beach.
Beach? Anyway.
Hey, Tom, where do you want the finale of our movie to be?
Beach?
Go to
Beach?
the beach.
Yeah, I mean, like we're saying is, you know, it has interesting things. It just doesn't come together well. It has so many other bad or boring things that it just definitely brings it down. It's definitely, I feel like, universally accepted as the worst one. Although some people still really fight for it. But
As is their right.
you know,
I will say it
can
is,
do whatever they want,
in
I
my
guess.
opinion, it's the only one in the franchise I would label a bad movie.
yeah, I agree. I'm inspecting everything today. We're
She's in
having,
the
you know,
box.
health code, blah, blah, blah. I hope she doesn't think that's a litter box.
She's chilling.
No, she
She's
doesn't.
a
Okay,
professional.
cool. Okay. Yeah.
They used the masks a couple of cool times. 2 times
Yeah.
to pretend being Ethan.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Oh, and then I
feel
actually
like-
love the idea. There's one part towards the finale,
Mm-hmm.
or I think in right before the finale,
Mm-hmm.
or at least the big last fight, where Ethan puts a mask of himself on someone with tape over their mouth.
Yeah.
When that
was really cool.
clever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the
It's,
action and like the use of the masks was really clever,
Mm-hmm.
and that was all they were cooking with.
Yeah. It's okay. They tried, and it didn't work out.
And it didn't-
Sometimes that happens.
And you know what? Ultimately, it still made more box office wise than the first one did, which
Okay.
crazy to me. But
You want to move on to 3?
I would love.
We didn't
to
have a
move
lot
on
to say
three.
about that one, but I think that's appropriate.
Well,
We're gonna have plenty to
there's a
say about the
reason.
others.
So-
Yeah.
As soon
Yeah.
as you label something forgettable, then that explains why you don't have a
Yeah.
lot to say about it.
It's a movie. Get through it. It gets better.
Yeah.
So, I feel like that's why in my original ranking I had 3 above 1 because it was following 2, and so it was like, oh, this is already like better. But then on the rewatch, I was like, no, I definitely like the first one better. I don't know. I still like 3. I like parts of 3. It's better than 2.
It gives us
On
Benji,
the trash.
and we love some Benji.
Oh yeah.
and
love some
hold on,
Benji.
let me.
Finding the third main piece in the puzzle. Introduced Julia?
Yes.
Julia? Jules? Jewel?
the love interest that stays a love interest.
Yeah.
And I will say, some of the action
And alive.
Some of the action girls come and go, but this is. I like that they gave Ethan one love interest, and it continues to be like almost a trope around like the one who got away, but it's not necessarily that she got away. It's more they just like couldn't make it work, and it gives past lives almost in that regard, where it's like
Yeah.
they have this connection, it's very real, but they can't.
Yeah. And when
Stay
she
with
pops
it.
up later, it's nice and
Yeah,
it works.
every time she pops back up, it's always it's very maybe it's not always convenient, but it's always like,
No.
oh, she's here.
yeah,
And then
love
when it's not convenient,
her.
it's like, oh god, she's here.
Also, if you haven't put 2 and 2 together, she's the girl from White Lotus.
Yeah.
She's Jacqueline.
Jacqueline.
So, yeah, good for her. I was like, that makes sense because I feel like I knew her face, but I just thought, she was just exuding that energy.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. It's because I actually knew her face.
You did.
I can't believe I didn't put that together. That,
And then-
really, I don't even know.
And Lawrence Fishburne is in this movie.
Lawrence Fishburne?
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne.
Who is that?
He's
Right. Why did I not know his name?
from Matrix? Because he's not.
Oh, he's great. He's in a lot of stuff.
Oh, I can't remember his name.
It's okay. You're doing great. This one is also interesting because they still do something different because Ethan is retired at first, and he's living with this girl and they're in love, and then they even get married. But then one of his former students, he had a student that he was training. Instead of actually being in the IMF, he was just more like training people to that were gonna be in the IMF. He was training them, and then she was in danger, and he goes after her to try to save her, and he doesn't. And I think that's crazy. Do you want to be in the conversation?
Sorry, I forgot Morpheus's name, and now I know Morpheus's name for
Mor-
Matrix.
You forgot Morpheus when
I
it's so
did.
close to Morbius?
But
It's okay. I did too.
Yeah, and I liked the like person on the inside idea a lot.
Yeah.
And you know what? I completely fell for it, and I was like, guys, why are we acting like it's not going to be surprising when it's this guy? Oh, and then they got me. They so got me.
They gagged you. They said, "Oh, here." But I also liked the opening when we think we know what's going to happen there, and then we don't.
Remind me what the opening is.
The opening is, it shows Ethan, he's like tied up, and then he sees Julia. We don't know who she is at the time.
Right.
And then they're counting down to 10 with, to like, give me the rabbit's foot. Where's the actual rabbit's foot? What is that? And blah, blah, blah. And then they shoot her.
That's another thing. I completely forgot about that opening.
Yeah.
It's a fine opening, but
What?
I don't know.
I think it's very dramatic.
Yeah, I mean, it's very dramatic, but
Yeah.
I absolutely cannot stand
Oh,
Owen
yeah.
Davis. Like, that villain, I cannot stand every time he's on screen.
Why?
Man,
It's gonna be
get over
okay.
yourself.
Um,
Because you know what I can't stand? I can't stand villains who, like, lose control and can't accept that they lost control and act like whiny babies while they don't have control. And then we're supposed to act intimidated by them
yeah.
later. And it's, like, crazy that, like, I know you're a bitch. And here you are acting tough.
I don't know who you're talking about.
This guy.
That's...
He's the one that, like, gets
Oh,
hung
you
out
said
of the
his
plane.
character name, and I was like, who is that?
Owen,
You
yeah.
don't like him?
I really don't like him in this movie.
What?
I don't know. I don't like that kind of character. And
Not
after watching
not
all of
Plutarch.
after watching all of the Bond movies, there's a lot of that characters.
Oh, dang. Okay. Okay, well, I
So-
haven't seen most of the Bond movies. I've seen the Daniel Craig ones and
It's
maybe
just, like,
one of the other
crazy
classic
that
ones.
you didn't want to make a character, and so instead you're playing a trope.
Well,
Wild.
you
I don't
know,
know.
sometimes it happens in Mission Impossible. Sometimes. But it's okay. I feel like you were more critical of this film than I was. But I still liked it. I still feel like overall you liked it, or parts of it.
I mean, I like it more than 2 for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, 2 is the only one you would label a bad film. The others are, like, watchable.
For sure.
Parts are enjoyable. And it gets better from there.
And I will say, the rest of it really works for me. The whole mystery, the whole he's trying to get out but can't with her name. Remind me her name.
Julia?
Julia. I need to remember Julia.
Julia.
And then I like the little team he starts to assemble.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually really felt for the one who didn't make it out on the rescue mission.
Oh, the student?
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
Lindsay Ferris.
Oh, that
But-
scene was sad. Even though you don't
Yeah.
really know her, you know what she meant to Ethan, and that
yeah,
sucks.
and you feel that.
That was a good
but they,
scene.
And, the first one did make me feel that
Okay,
for his
yeah.
team. So that there's already something they're doing
There's
better
something
here.
there, yeah.
So, and then I really liked his team. It was Benji, Zen, and Luther. I think that was the most of it.
Yeah.
And then I liked...
I want to say this one was the one that was directed by J.J. Abrams.
Yes, it was.
Am I crazy? Interesting.
And then
I
the
feel
reveal
like
really
I can
got-
see that.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, there's hints of some of his other stuff in here.
Yeah. Do you want to move on to Ghost Protocol?
Surely.
Okay, so this film was interesting because I feel like for some reason I had in my mind that I didn't like this film, and I have no idea why. Because I liked this film on the rewatch. I was like, why was I scared about this film? And I didn't even have like a bad rating because, I've had Letterboxd for a while. Like when I saw these films for the first time in order, I had Letterboxd. And so I had a pretty good rating on this one. But I don't know. I felt like bad about it going in. And then I came out of it really excited. So, and this is where we get to the connection thing. So for the next 4 films, they all have the same director, which is Christopher McQuarrie. I think you say McQuarrie?
I believe so.
Which is really interesting because they're I feel like overall people would consider them the top 4 films.
Yeah.
They might put like, you know, the first one in there for nostalgia reasons, but like I feel like a lot of people would put those 4 in their top 4 in some order. Oh my gosh. That scares me every time. I need to turn that off. My I have a food thing for my cat and my voice goes off cuz I accidentally recorded myself when refilling her food one time. So, anyways.
You know, I'm actually seeing that Ghost Protocol had a different director.
Really?
I'm seeing it was Brad Bird who directed Incredibles 2, Ratatouille, The Incredibles, The Iron Giant.
Crazy. Maybe it's the next 3.
Oh, because it's including Dead Reckoning or Final Reckoning.
Right. Okay. That's interesting because I feel like I could see those 4 being the same, but
I agree.
Yeah.
I could easily see this falling into the same ones because I think this one was, you know, a level up from the previous ones.
yeah. Well, that makes it even more wild if the couple of whispers I've heard are true about the Final Reckoning not being good. That would be extra crazy.
Interesting.
But whatever, we just saw it with the White Lotus. The same people making a phenomenal show and then fumbling in the end. So it can happen, but I'm still going to go into it feeling really good. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
And this one has a great opening scene for me, if I'm correct.
Yeah, the heist.
This is the one where they start in the Kremlin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that whole opening. I love him getting in, and I love the machine that Benji has where it's like showing the fake hallway.
Yeah.
And then it like starts breaking apart when multiple people are standing in the hallway, and it's like, oh no, which one do I copy the right side?
No.
And then running away as the Kremlin is exploding to try and kill Ethan. Oh, it's like a perfect setup to be like, oh no,
Yeah.
and then he's framed for it.
Yep. That's a fun little callback they have in the trailer for Final Reckoning as well. They're like, remember that thing that it almost killed you? You're like, oh yeah, I do remember that because that was a great scene. Yeah, this is a very interesting movie because it does another really interesting thing like 3 did with Ethan being retired, but they do it throughout the whole movie where they go into Ghost Protocol, which is where the IMF basically has to disband because, you know,
Because the U.S. government can't be connected with their actions.
yeah.
And
yeah.
so if they get
which is
captured or
crazy.
killed, the U.S. has
They're
to
on
be
their
like,
own.
We do
Never
not
knew
affiliate
them.
with that.
Yeah.
I've never seen this man before in my life.
I'm so sorry to this man. I have never seen this man in my life.
And I actually forgot the actual opening is him getting out of the prison and the reveal that
Yeah.
like his wife is dead.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's wild. Which she's not, if you've seen
Yeah,
the films.
spoilers.
But, yeah, hey, we warned you.
But and then he's brought in just to be, you know, wanted again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is
He's having a hard time. He's having a
Going
hard
through it.
time. But, you know, he's having a great time. Brant.
yeah,
Hawkeye. It's so fun seeing him in these films. I'm very sad he was not in Dead Reckoning.
Yeah, it feels.
I like need him to make a cameo
It feels
in
weird
Final
that he
Reckoning.
didn't come back, and apparently
Yeah.
he couldn't come back because he was doing Endgame, which you know
Yeah.
is so valid. Get your paycheck, King.
Yeah. But it sucks. I'm like,
But
hey,
he's so good here.
I know you can't just make a cameo. Please make a cameo in the last one because he's
I
not
really
dead.
hope so.
He's not dead. Can he? You know,
Ugh, I would love for him to just like pop in as.
or name drop him like something.
Yeah.
Because he was actually a really good character.
I love how he's introduced in the first one.
Yeah.
He's this what is it, the analyst or like risk analyst.
Yeah.
Who's like thrown into the field with Ethan. It's revealed that
Yeah.
he's actually, you know, he blames himself for his wife
wife's
dying.
Ethan's
and
wife
then
dying.
He has,
Mhm.
and that's the reason he left the field.
Mhm.
And then here he is with the man, and the way they reveal that to the team.
Mhm. And the way he already like knew and was like, she's not
Yeah,
dead.
homie,
She's fine.
you're good. She's right over there.
Yeah,
Look
low
at
key,
her.
that scene felt like a Fast and Furious kind of thing.
It did. It does
right?
have that vibe,
right?
actually.
It's like family, and then
like,
play some like
Grant,
song.
You can't forget, we have family on our side.
It's like.
With family,
that's a
nothing is
compliment,
mission
by the way.
impossible.
Those are like the best scenes in the. We should do like a Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
We will eventually when the
Yeah,
next
for
movie
the-
comes out. So
Whenever that is.
Yeah, which we've seen those films, but we'll rewatch and do a video on that. So, anyways,
And then it has
And
one of the
then-
most iconic stunts.
honestly, one of my favorite too.
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
It's like before I even like started watching these movies, it's the one you know is like it's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah. I agree. And it's on the tallest tower in the world, or the second
In
tallest.
Dubai.
I think in Dubai.
It's one of the tallest for sure.
It's definitely one or two, I think.
It's not two because that's when Yelena jumped off of, and it wasn't. That.
Right. So maybe it is the tallest one. I don't know. It was a really tall building, and he had these gloves. He had no harness, which I'm sure he did in real life.
Oh, for
but
sure.
apparently, Jeremy Renner did not have a harness when pulling him up through the window, which is wild if true.
Jeremy.
Maybe that's why he left. Maybe he's like, he got flashbacks. He was like, Tom Cruise made me do this. He made me do this without a harness. I can't be here. I can't do this. I can't.
Hawkeye would never.
He would just fall and then shoot an arrow and catch himself. And it'd be fine.
That's what we
Like
need. The
in
Hawkeye
Avengers.
and Ethan Hunt reunion.
Yeah. Give him a bow and arrow and you have a duo right there. Anyways, it's really funny because in our theater we keep getting this commercial, or we kept for a while, where this guy was making an ad for Emirates,
Yep, flying to Dubai.
flying to Dubai, and he does this thing where he like swings on, I think, the same tower,
for sure.
and he's like, nothing is impossible. I have to wonder if that was intentional.
Oh, it totally is.
Yeah. But I hate it. I
It's
hate
a
every
very-
time he says it. Nothing
And also
is
because
impossible.
almost every time it plays, they play it twice.
Yes.
And it's-
Most of the time, it maybe has one commercial in between, but a lot of times they would play it back to back, and that would just kill me. I was like, I already didn't want to watch this once. Why? And you're making me watch it twice with like no break in between.
Crazy.
I can't even remember. The North remembers. Anyways. But yeah, this is, and more fun masks. They do some fun stuff with that.
I love the scene in the building where they have to do the, like, one person is faking the drop and one person is faking the, like, information trade for it.
Yeah.
And they have to do that at the same time.
And it's
love
like
that
the
whole
two different
idea.
floors, but they think it's the same one.
Ugh,
So cool.
it.
That was visually very interesting.
Yeah. I think it's also interesting that they have the girl who later becomes in Bond. She's the assassin in the trade-off scene. She is, where are you?
Right.
Sabine is her character. She's played by Leah Seydoux.
Okay. Slay. She was good.
She's
You know, she was
functional
there.
here for sure. She
She's-
gives. It's interesting because I think she gives the same energy that she does in the first Bond film that she's
Okay,
in, and I didn't like her character in the first
Okay,
one. I like it in her in the last one. She's in the very last Bond movie, and I like her
Okay.
character a lot more there.
Yeah.
But and this role is in between those two.
Yeah. You're like, it was okay. It was alright.
Yeah, it's a lot shorter than I thought it was. As soon as I saw her, I was like, cool. So she's gonna like stay around the whole movie, and then they kick her out a window. No, they shoot her out a window.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh.
Where'd
I
she
did
go?
not see that coming.
No. Yeah, that's the last film before we finally get Ilsa. I almost said Issa. Ilsa?
Issa Rae?
Issa Rae? That's who I mean, yeah, Slay Girl. Get her in one of these films. That would be kind of fun. Anyways. Yeah, but I feel like it was still pretty good. Pretty solid.
Yeah, it definitely continues to level up.
Yeah.
After 2.
Yeah. Do you want to move on to Rogue Nation?
Surely.
We're getting to the fun names now, and I love that for them.
So this one was very fun. I will say
Mm-hmm.
it has, I don't know what it is, but it has almost like a noir quality to it at points that I think
Okay.
the other ones don't have.
They play around with stuff in this franchise, and I think that's fun.
Yeah, it's super fun.
'cause
especially
sometimes
with,
it
like,
works,
the
sometimes
night
it doesn't.
scenes.
Yeah.
Some great stuff. This is the first one directed by Christopher McQuarrie.
Guys, I'm crazy. I did know in my mind that it started with Rogue Nation, not Ghost Protocol, with the same director. I was just looking at the wrong bullet point. Sorry. I am aware.
But this
Very
does give
crazy.
us Ilsa, which is
Yeah.
a wonderful thing to do. It gives us, let me see if I can find his name.
And then
Lane. It gives us Lane.
yeah. And you have the great opening scene with which is with the plane.
Yes.
I forgot about the plane for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh no. I feel like I remember
Plane is
that.
one of them. Is also a very iconic
Yeah.
one.
Well, because there's a couple, and so but I think I'm thinking of the right one.
Mm-hmm.
But then, just the drama of going to the record store, and then realizing the worker he's talking to, is in on it.
Well, she's not in on it. She's
Well, like-
handing him his mission.
Yeah.
And I love the play on.
I'm
the,
saying like she's not just like
sure.
a worker, you know.
I
She's
love
like,
the
we know.
play on the your mission should you choose to accept it. I love
Yeah.
the spin on it where it's like your mission if you should choose to accept it is to die.
Yeah.
And if you look to your left.
And then he goes into the little box, and then someone kills her.
Yeah. You're right.
And I feel like isn't that the introduction to the villain that you
Yes.
thought was annoying?
I thought he was very annoying in this movie. And
I
it's
find a lot of the
continues
villains
to be-
annoying, which is interesting.
I don't know. There are people who like talk about what makes a villain good, and like there's the people who talk about like, oh, a villain needs to just be evil, and they don't need a backstory, and they don't need any explanation to be evil. You're evil, and that is enough to be a great villain. And then there's and there's like people who like, oh, every villain can't be sympathetic, and every villain can't have a cry sob story background, or it's like, and I think I can understand that possibly being a little overplayed in certain franchises.
Yeah.
But actually, if your character is just evil and nothing else, then you don't have a character.
Then it's
You
boring.
have a trope. And
Interesting.
it's I don't know. I think because of that conversation and how I think it blinds people to some great genre performances, I think I'm very
Interesting.
jaded to the roles that do just be like, I'm evil because I said so and I want to do things. And it's just like, I don't know. I think there's a lot
Interesting.
of good performances that go into why people do bad things, and when they don't, and I don't feel like giving it nearly as much credit.
Okay.
And then also, I hate it when they're also annoying.
Sure. I don't know. You were really bugged by most of the villains in Mission Impossible, and I found that interesting. I guess I didn't really mind. I mean, I don't like the one in the second one, but who does? So
I think, but then he worked for me a lot in not Ghost Protocol, Fallout.
Fallout.
Whenever he came back, I liked him a lot more there.
yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe it's just a first time thing where I feel that way. Be interested to
Maybe
see
there
if
was
I
too
rewatch
much of
this one,
him.
but
And then Fallout wasn't as much, so maybe it worked.
yeah, maybe
know.
mayhaps.
Yeah.
But I loved Ilsa. I loved.
Oh, she
a lot
was
of the action
wonderful
scenes it.
in this movie.
And then this one was where they tried to take him off the case, and then he completely ghosted. And then, what's his name?
are you
Alec
thinking of?
Baldwin's character Hunley is hunting him.
Yeah. Mhm.
And this is when I realized, wow, they instead of like replacing the spy's love interest, they replaced the spy's boss every movie. And this
Yeah.
is the movie where I was like, cool, this is gonna be like the third movie in a row where they replace who's in charge of the IMF.
Yeah, that's true. And then they do again after Fallout.
Yeah.
Because he's in Fallout, but then,
Yeah, and then
he dies. R.I.P.
And then it's the girl who was after the IMF that movie. And
Yeah.
It's literally that.
Mhm.
It's almost
Hey,
funny.
but you know what? At least it's Angela Bassett now.
It is Angela Bassett.
And I love that for her.
But
And I wrote down here that I feel like this movie is really where they have figured out, okay, this works for us. Let's figure out what we can do with it now. And they have that nice addition of Ilsa. She adds something awesome to the group because she's not like the rest of them where she's just in it and she's there to help them. She's always like on the outside but still very much in their group.
Yeah.
And she always helps them, but she's still like
She always has her own
not the
stuff going
IMF.
on.
Yes, she's very like still for herself, but she wants them to be safe.
Yeah, I loved her.
She's like an
save-
anti-hero kinda
I loved
thing.
Her oh, she's very anti-hero.
Yeah, and
actually.
I love that. Yeah.
And I really liked the introduction of like she works for this evil syndicate. Oh, but let me save Ethan really quick.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but now I'm gonna go be evil again. And
Yeah.
and I think it's such a interesting thing.
It's a
that, like,
whiplash,
Ethan
but
knows
fun.
That, like, well, so you're not like with them, but you're not.
It's like we
not
feel
with
what.
them. What's
yeah,
happening here?
we're like
And
right
it's
there
like-
with Ethan. Where we're like, what are you? What side are you on? Because I know you're not against me, but
Stop
you're not
her
really
sniper-
helping me
stop
either.
her sniper shot. It's like, so what are we?
You know, and in Dead Reckoning, you brought up something about Grace, Haley Atwell's character,
Yeah.
where you were saying that she feels very much like Ilsa in this movie in Rogue Nation, like when she first is introduced. And that's actually, when you were saying that, that's where my mind went to, because it's very like, well, I know you're not going to kill me, but you're certainly not going to help me either, especially if it's not aligning with what your objective is. And so it's like very irritating, except I also like you, and I'm not going to kill you either. And I'm just going to like chase after you. Like, it's very Grace. That it actually is, and I hope Grace gets a better follow-up
I
than
will
Ilsa
say,
did.
I think here with Ilsa, the difference is that she has a mission, and like
Yeah.
you just don't know what that is. I think Grace is introduced and she thinks she knows what's going on.
Yeah.
But she doesn't.
Like, she has a mission, but she doesn't know exactly
Well, she
what that
has
is.
a mission, but she doesn't know the details of it. Elsa
Exactly.
knows so much more than Ethan does.
She knows she has to steal something, and that's it.
yeah,
And
she doesn't know
it's-
what it is even.
Nope. Nope.
But I love Ilsa's very. I would say their introductions are different in that.
Yeah.
regard.
They have
bring the same
similarities.
energy in,
Yes. Yeah.
But I absolutely love Ilsa this movie.
Yeah.
And
She's great. And her little dress when she has like,
Oh, she eats with that.
oh my gosh.
assassination
I'm
scene.
like, that whole scene is great. And the whole like realizing that multiple people are after the, I think, Chancellor. or
Yeah, one of the
something?
chancellors, and then he takes the shot on him himself. Was like, woo!
Yeah.
You are bold, sir.
Yeah. That is crazy.
And then I love the scene where they have Benji on the bomb.
Yeah.
And then the power move of, I deleted your list, and so I remembered the numbers.
Yep.
I am the list.
It gave very like Aaron Brockovich of like,
Yeah, it
you
is
want
very Aaron
you want their
Brockovich.
diseases. Like, she eats that scene, and so did Ethan. So did Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Oh,
I love
and
that for
I
him.
also love the scene where they break into I think it was the Brazil, or it was some. South
So
American-
what? You gotta give me
the
more.
computer, and they had to like go in and hold their breath in the tank, the cooling
Yeah.
tank, and they had to
Okay.
replace the walking
Yeah.
like schematics or whatever for Benji.
Yeah. That
Love
was
scene
awesome.
so much.
I will say I have heard within the Final Reckoning, people are complaining that the scenes are never ending, but I feel like that's a classic for this franchise. It's like they do really long scenes really well. Like I say that when I'm watching Dead Reckoning, when he goes to save Grace when she has her arrested, but then saves her from that.
I think Final Reckoning I would say is the only one that has the scenes go arguably a little long. I would say
Yeah.
it walks the line on that, and I
Yeah.
can totally understand that criticism.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't have it.
No, I think
like,
it's just
I
fun
could
the whole time.
definitely-
But
like I had the feeling it was like, this is going on a while. Like
Yeah.
for some of like the chase scene in that
Yeah.
movie, and it's like,
yeah.
interesting. Do we need to do this a whole lot longer?
Mm-hmm.
But then for me, like right along the lines of like, this is too much. It stops.
Yeah.
And I would say maybe the train scene at the end, when it's like falling off the tracks, I could understand maybe that as well. Because it's like the same note of, oh, now we have to get through this train.
Yeah. And
compartment.
this one. And this one.
But that one, even
Yeah.
just like the different like structures work for me, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's like
There's
oh,
something different in each train. Yeah. I don't know. It's fun. I agree with that. So
But I could definitely see if you're trying to like
it's
do
going
a
on too
finale,
long.
and it's like, oh, we're gonna make this scenes better than the last one by just making them longer. It's like
Okay.
that's not the takeaway.
No, because you were close to the line in the last one, but you didn't, and so it was awesome. Let's not go past that. Yeah? Yeah?
Right.
Right?
But back to Rogue Nation, I absolutely love that. That's one of my favorite like missions they have. It's just super cool, and then she betrays them and takes
And
it,
he actually
and
held
it's
his
the
breath for that.
motorcycle- And then the motorcycle chase scene.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was awesome.
some great
There's some great action
great
scenes.
stuff.
And it's new each time, too. Even with all the, like, the plane scenes, there's a lot of them, but they all do something different. And I love that for them.
Yeah.
They look different. They feel different.
Absolutely. And then And then Mission Impossible Fallout.
Fallout. Okay, so this one and Dead Reckoning are almost always a person's number one, but you had a very interesting experience with this one,
I think it's so crazy.
which I still love
That-
this film.
Sure.
By the way.
And I can understand reasons
And on a
why.
good day, it would be my number
And I
one.
think it's a really great film. I still
Yeah.
continue to think it's not a good film. It's a great film. However, for me, it's the first film since I was previously said that it feels like the movies are like constantly raising each other.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first one that I feel like it cuts the quality down a little for me.
Interesting.
Like
Hot take.
it's apparently
You're gonna
it
catch some
really
strays
is.
with that one. Yeah.
And that's so valid. I love that
Yeah.
people love this movie. And
Yeah.
it definitely deserves to be loved.
Mhm.
But it's not my favorite.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the reasons it's not my favorite are some of the reasons people really like this one.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy to me. And this is the actual hot take, is that I actually don't like Henry Cavill in this one. Like,
Crazy.
borderline at all. Which is
Kinda-
so...
That's like a huge hot take, I will
I
say.
didn't think I was going to feel that way.
Yeah.
I think it could be that I knew going in that he played a villain.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched the movie and it's like, I don't trust the IMF. Take this person instead. And it's like, oh, so you're saying you don't trust the people that I know to trust because I watched 5 movies already with them.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to add you, the smart person in charge of the entire CIA, are going to send in someone I already know is going to betray the team.
That would like start you off on the wrong foot, I feel like.
And then, like, knowing that, it just feels like...
Because I didn't know that when watching the film. So that would change
And
a
it just
person's
the
experience, I feel
and
like.
it's like, oh, yeah, the person who kills every single person we're trying to capture to learn more about this organization. It's like,
Yeah.
you never stopped to question why he never has a witness to interview.
Mhm.
Like, that never raised any red flags. Ever. And it's, I don't know. He just never once feels like he's there for the right reasons. And I'm sure...
Well,
it's
he's not.
I know, but
He's
it's like,
not.
he's not even there believable, like...
I don't know.
I
I
don't
think
know.
it's more this guy gets things done and Ethan Hunt doesn't.
But he doesn't, is the thing. Like, he kills everyone
does.
that you're trying to get information out of. Ethan is able to get information out of these people. And if not them, then he has the mask so he can get it from the person they're getting information from.
Maybe.
It's just like, I don't know. And it's also at this point a tired charade of constantly being like, what does the IMF even do? And it's like, we have done this for 5 movies and you're not doing it any different.
I don't know. I feel
don't
like
know.
some people misinterpret Ethan's character just because they like him. Like, he's still very much, like, he is a part
He's
of the
very-
IMF.
I can
but he
understand
doesn't.
him.
Hang, one second.
Perfect.
So he is he's still very much like, I'm still going to protect my friends over everything. And that's explored really in a really interesting way in this movie, where you have like the CIA lady. I think it sucks because it's like she is supposed to be aggravating, but she's Angela Bassett, so it's like, I don't want you to be aggravating. I want you to be
Sure.
like good, and she's
I want
not.
you to be a real one.
Right, and she's not, and
I hate that.
I hate that for
I
her.
hate that you're not the real one and Alec Baldwin's the real one. That's the crime.
Actually,
here.
that's so real. That is so real. But I do love that scene where before that, I think it's before that happens, where Alec Baldwin's character Hunley, he says like, he's having a conversation with Ethan, and Ethan's saying like, but I didn't do it. Like, I chose my friends over saving the world. And he was saying, I forgot exactly what they said, but it basically, Hunley was like, well, that's why I trust you, because I know you would do that for me, and I respect that. And maybe I shouldn't, but I do, because that's where my values are. And then you have the CIA lady. What's her name? Sloane, I think. I think it's Sloane. Angela Bassett's character, where she isn't willing to see that and just says, I need to see things get done, and you had a chance to save the world and you didn't, and I'm not going to see beyond that. And I do think that's frustrating and that's boring, but I am glad that she's not the only character there reacting to that. I'm glad that all Alec Baldwin's character is there. So we have like okay, so we're not all stupid, right? We're not all stupid. We have some people that like
I don't
understand that it's a bigger picture than that. I don't know. It's aggravating because I think we're supposed to be aggravated by, oh my God, so many names. Sloane, right? That was the name?
yes, Sloane is her last name.
Sloane and Walker? That's Henry Cavill's
Yes.
character name? But sometimes it walks too close to the line of, like, it's not believable. I will say that's very valid.
Like, they revealed
Versus
that Walker,
just that's what their character
like, they
is.
have Walker straight up admit to being corrupt, and then she's like,
Yeah.
cool, now everyone in that room is corrupt. It's like,
What?
what?
Yeah.
I just
I don't
admitted
know.
to being the thing you think that Ethan is. And it's
Yeah.
like, cool. We don't know which one could possibly be the one we're looking for. So just arrest everyone.
Okay.
It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Stop.
Stop making bad decisions.
Stop being in charge of intelligence in America and not having it.
Except, isn't that so real?
I mean, not
Realistic.
in 2018.
Realistic. No, that's true. Well, no,
Not as
yeah,
much. Yeah.
not as much. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I can understand that.
And then even Henley, Hunley, like right before that scene,
Mm-hmm.
also was like, Ethan, I don't trust you anymore, and we have to arrest you. And it's like, why the change up?
Why?
Why? Like,
And then he's like, just kidding. Just kidding.
Julia comes back for a little bit, which was a very interesting
Yeah.
surprise.
I loved that for her.
Vanessa Kirby is the White Widow.
Oh, she
Love
slays.
that.
She's giving, like, I don't even know. She's giving her own thing. And I
Yeah.
love that for her.
She's like not your she's not your typical arms dealer or
Yeah.
whatever.
I don't know. Her journey is very interesting because you think she's like a straight up bad guy, but she's really not. She's just like the branch between the bad guys. And I think that's fascinating to me. And I feel like she's giving Ilsa and Grace combined in a way where she like doesn't fully know what's going on, but she also slays while doing it. And I love
She
that for
keeps
her.
her composure really well, but
Yeah.
but she keeps her composure and is able to be really honest about things.
Yeah.
Which is and still have a lot of like watchability and flair with it, which is
Yeah.
just so amazing.
Yeah.
And then she grows off of that into Dead Reckoning amazingly.
What
And
a
I
great
love-
performance in that movie. I'm like,
oh,
that's my Sue Storm right there.
yeah.
Love
like
you,
watching
mother.
these movies, I was already excited to see her as Sue Storm, but like this is another level.
Oh, you know she's gonna eat. I love that for her.
She is such a
Especially if
good
she does ever get to explore what is it, Malice?
Mhm.
Oh, she's gonna eat at that. So probably not this movie. Maybe if they have a sequel to the Fantastic Four or whatever,
Sure.
that would be great. I also put Ethan and Walker doing a plane jump stunt together. I thought that was fun. That was giving like almost like Brandt having to help with the stunt, pulling him in. But this was like, no, like they're both jumping. And I think that's great.
Yeah, that was an awesome
fun.
scene.
Yeah.
And then I love the entire party scene.
And
I like the
Ethan
fight
saving
in the
him.
bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then he's I don't know. I know it's
Yeah.
supposed to be like he's an asshole when he's like, wow, you lost your mask. Like he
Thanks.
because Ethan
Yeah.
gives him the mask and it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's like, man, and he continues to like act like the most convenient thing here wouldn't be you dying.
Yeah.
He's a better person than I am. Gotta give it to Ethan.
I will say, I wish they made Walker a little bit more capable. I feel like they wanted to show that he was corrupt, and so they had him kill all of his witnesses and be an asshole. But then that came off too much as he was incapable
Yeah.
and not just he's a bad guy.
Like, he
you
also
know,
doesn't
like he
come off
still
as
needs to be
clever
good.
either.
Yeah, if he can infiltrate and trick Sloane so much, I need to believe that. And it's either he's incapable and so Sloane is an idiot, and I don't want to think that because Angela Bassett.
Yeah.
I don't want to look at a character with Angela Bassett's face and be like, "You're dumb,"
Yeah,
because
sure.
she's mother. But it has to either give that or it gives that. I don't even know what it gives.
Yeah, I remember I watched
know.
that first one, and I
That's
remember you
all it
being really
gives.
shocked that I was so critical of this one.
Yeah.
And, like, I remember saying, like, Angela Bassett played a version of Amanda Waller. And somehow
Yeah.
this is still the shadiest politician she's ever played.
Yeah.
And that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I really wanted her to eat in this movie. And unfortunately, if she ate anything, it was not good.
Lies.
Lies.
She
sure.
ate lies. Yeah, and it makes me interested to see what she's gonna do in Final Reckoning.
I really...
'Cause she
she's
was in the trailer.
She's so talented. And I'm
I hope
surprised
she's
she
smarter.
wasn't in the
Dead
next
Reckoning.
one. I was very
Mhm.
surprised about that. So
Yeah.
I'm really, really hoping we have a turnaround here.
That's also why I'm hoping they bring back Brant. I'm okay if they don't bring back Julia,
Sure.
unless it's necessary to the story. But I feel like they've already done that, so I'm like, I don't know. But Brant, since they seem like they're bringing almost everybody back, I'm like,
Dude, we're getting
bring
the
it
gang back together.
Just a little bit, just a cameo, please. Anyways,
But yeah, overall, still can't say this enough. It's a great movie. It's just the things that really work for some people just aggressively don't work for me.
Mhm. I don't know. I will say what bothered me more about Walker's character, and I'm still not as bothered, but is not so much his acting, it's more the writing of his character, but I think both bothered you. Would you say that's accurate?
I mean, it feels like Henry Cavill's like acting the character he's handed, but it feels like
Okay.
everyone acts like he's a different character than he is.
Okay.
You know? Like,
Yeah.
it feels like they're acting around someone who is really shady and really good at pretending, and that's not who he's playing. He's playing
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
someone very brunt
Yeah.
and up in your face about what an ass he is,
Yeah.
and how he's not anyone you can trust.
Yeah.
And he's being passed as, this is the person more trustworthy than you. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Ooh.
really?
See, that brought up something. Speaking of Walker, do you feel like he should have been more like a John Walker type of character? Like maybe he is incapable, and somehow the right person, aka Sloane, trusted him, but everybody else is aware that he's not trustworthy.
Like, there's definitely
Like,
could have been,
could
like,
that have helped?
there could have been something along the lines of, there's a reason that she trusts him so much,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh, he, like, saved her son or
Oh,
something.
so she's,
Or,
like,
there's a
blinded
mission
by
where it's like,
emotion.
this is her ride or die. This is, like, the Ethan to her Hunley.
Oh,
and, like,
that would be
But
interesting.
there wasn't anything to, like, make us be like, there's
Not
a
that
reason
we
you trust
know.
her so hardly.
Mhm.
And, you know, like I said, everyone's treating this character like it's someone that should be, someone who follows rules. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's not that either.
Mhm.
So it just feels so weird to me.
Yeah. I will say I feel like he gets better when he is revealed to be Lark,
Sure.
because then it's all out in the open. Would you also agree with that?
I mean, definitely in, like, the conclusion, it all
Yeah.
works a lot more for me.
yeah.
But I
Just
but I
to get
imagine, like, if
theirs.
it was, like, the twist of, like, oh my gosh, he was the villain all along,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's able to, like, be the character that he was hiding behind. It's like,
Yeah.
no, actually, this is still the same character. He just, like, is doing evil things.
Mm-hmm. I will
point
say
blank.
I appreciate that it wasn't just that for me. Like, it wasn't just the twist. It was also the twist that Ethan and his whole team was very much aware that he was that. Like, it wasn't it was a shock for the audience, maybe for some audience members, but not them. And I think that was nice.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you for not falling for it like Sloane did. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's something they've had to learn along the way,
Mm-hmm.
and I would love to have had the experience of, like, finding the point where it's like something feels really off about this character,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't tell if it's him being evil or not.
okay.
And if I would have been able to piece together that he was Lark before
Mm-hmm.
it's, like, spelled out with Sloane, and he's like, I think Ethan is this character. I think Ethan is Sloane because he could have killed that decoy and then just, like, pretended he was dead, and now
Yeah.
he's taking the role, and it's like, well, we know it's not that, so this is the point where he's basically admitting to being Lark.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
would I have been able to figure that out beforehand? I would have known something was up, because...
'Cause we
I
like
said,
Ethan,
he's
we
not
don't like him.
trustworthy,
Yeah.
and he's being passed as the rule-following, trustworthy person.
Yeah, and especially in that scene where he tries to convince Sloane that Ethan is Lark, that's like the big red flag. That's like, oh, this guy's Lark.
And that's another part with Sloane where it's like, yeah, me and one other person killed this guy, and now, you know, the real Lark could like be behind this whole thing, and it's like, you mean behind the thing that only you and one other person did? So so this easily could have been one of the, like, and the CIA director is the one missing, the very obvious thing here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you don't give us a reason to not think that it could not also be him besides your own ego.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we needed a reason for Sloane to not even question him. And we didn't get that. That is fair. Yeah. But I still feel like overall I really liked this film. So many of the action sequences, so many of the things they set up, the characters that they have.
Yeah, and then Ilsa is
Very
here. She meets her there. I was kind of wondering if White Widow was going to join the ensemble. She didn't, which, you know, I think she could slay in the ensemble here, but her role still really works.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like she works really well as a supporting character.
For sure. I was just wondering if she was going to, like, take Ilsa's role.
Yeah.
But then
I'm
Ilsa
glad
was
she
still here.
didn't.
Yeah.
And I feel like Grace doesn't either.
Oh, no.
So it's nice that they all three of them feel different, which would not have happened in the previous films. So.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh, and then I really liked the reveal of Julia being at the bomb site, and then everyone being like, "Your wife is here? Your wife?
Your wife?" And then finding out that she was basically paid to be here, you're like, "Uh-oh." Yeah.
And then I like the bittersweet, more past lives of like, yeah, I'm married now, and I'm doing the thing I love, and I hope you're doing the same, Ethan. And then I love her scene with helping Luther.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it's all just, there's a lot of heart there.
Yeah.
And with this cast and this ensemble, and it's a testament to how much love is put into this franchise.
Yeah. Well, speaking of love in the franchise, let's talk about the latest one, Dead Reckoning. AI is the bad guy.
Yeah, and I think they
love that
do
for
that
them.
so well.
So well. It's actually very scary. Very scary the way they do it. I love that. The opening with the submarine, crazy.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
chilling.
chilling. And then I love later in the film when he figures out the name. I think he thinks it's like a city or something, but then he realizes that it's a submarine. I'm like, I kind of love that. That's actually very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The AI all throughout. What was it called?
The
AI.
No.
It was like Oracle or the Abyss.
Oh, I forgot.
Oh, what is it?
I don't know.
What are you?
A rat. I feel like it starts with an E. I'm going crazy.
We got this. We'll find it.
It's okay. While you find that, Grace is introduced. Haley Atwell. Like we just said, she does not fill the role of Ilsa. She's very much her own character. Entity. Yes, I was right. Starts with an E. Yeah, but Grace is very fun. She has a very fun introductory scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd seen that scene. I'd seen the airport scene before.
Okay. Yeah, but it's still really good. Like the way they show you everything with the glasses, and then also the people trying to find him with the security cameras. They do a lot of things with the angles and the visuals in that scene that make it very interesting.
Yeah, it does a lot of the things you would think would happen in The Amateur.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. It was giving what the Amateur wanted to give. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's really good. I think it's kind of, she brings like an element, because she's not a fighter. Like, she knows some stuff, but she definitely, with like an experienced person, would not be able to hold her own for too long. Mm-hmm. She does a little bit later in the film, but her thing is pickpocketing, and she's really good at it. And I think that's awesome.
She's in her Now You See Me era.
Yeah, and you know what? That's like the coolest part of those films.
Yeah.
Loki. That one scene where they pass around the card, that's the scene that everybody talks about. So, I think that was a very smart choice and a very interesting way to make her unique, but also set her apart from the other two.
Yeah.
So.
And then also maybe jumping towards Ilsa,
Mm-hmm.
It was very interesting seeing her be introduced. They almost try to play it off as though she immediately dies. And then it's been like, Scythe, well, you think we'd do that?
Yeah.
And I love the way that she's still passed off as the, the more, like, inexperienced, but, like, not like in her own loop that's just overlapping us now kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I love that it always feels like she has her own stuff going on. Clearly, she was in the loop here before Ethan was.
Yep.
And then I really
I feel like
like.
she's always a step ahead of Ethan, which is interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know. It is very
but
true.
not anymore.
Nope. R.I.P. R.I.P.
And I really like
to a mother.
I don't know. It might technically be fridging, but you know, I really like the idea that this AI.
I feel like this is one that doesn't offend me. It just
Well, because it's just very true that like somewhat the only reason to guarantee that Ethan Hunt is going to go after these people no matter what is to kill someone that he cares about.
yeah,
And it's one of these two people that came to this party with him.
yeah,
And, you know, they choose the one that we as an audience have
are more attached
also
to,
a
and
longer attachment to.
yeah, I've invested more time in. Yeah,
Yeah, and I also like that it's not like it's a fight scene and she loses it, but like god damn if she does not put up an amazing fight.
yeah,
That's and yeah.
yeah.
It's,
And it's also great for her because she didn't have to be there. It could have very easily been Grace,
yeah.
but it wasn't. It was
She could've
only
let it be
not
Grace.
Grace because she showed up, and I think
There's a lot of power
that's
to
so her. Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah, because it wasn't
'Cause
Ethan
that's-
choosing or even the entity choosing. It
No,
was
it
her
was
making
Ilsa.
the choice to
Mhm.
put herself in there, and
Yeah.
that, you know, it's heroic.
It's also awesome because, you know, she doesn't even know Grace at all, but she knows she matters to Ethan, and that's enough for her to put herself at risk. And I think that's just awesome for her character. I don't know. What a way to go out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad,
women
of
helping
course. Exactly. I also want to point out that it was really, I don't know if funny is the right word. It really is funny, though. Where early on in the film, when you think that she dies for the first time, you're like, oh, thank God. And I was like, ooh. And I just like had to stay silent, and I was freaking out in my head. I was like, uh-oh. But then, because I thought like you weren't going to like the movie at that point, I was like, no. But then you still did, so it was okay.
Yeah.
Because it was done, really
Yeah,
well, so.
It's
It's
tricky to
proper.
kill off a character that people know really well, and I
Yeah.
think of I go back to like Multiverse of Madness with that, where it's like, you can have your character die and
was a
still make it
choice.
be like in character and mean
Yeah.
something.
And that's what they did here.
You do, and when you do it good, there's so much payoff to it.
Yep.
And you can say goodbye to this character and have it mean something to the characters moving forward and still leave a great legacy beginning to end for them.
Yeah.
And some people don't.
I'm
And
just sad she's not going to be in the last one.
That is going to be really
Unless
sad.
she pulls
Well,
a Gal Gadot in Fast and Furious eye roll.
I don't know. I feel like with him
I'm like,
going
girl, we know you
into-
died.
With him
Don't
going into
even.
the entity, I could see them doing like in Captain Marvel where it's like you talk to like the entity
Yeah.
through people that you know.
Or like, I mean, someone could wear a mask of her face.
Yeah, some great scenes. Speaking
There's things
of
that could happen.
in Dead Reckoning
Mm-hmm.
with
Who?
Haley
Haley Atwell?
trying to exactly
No.
put it. The way
it's
that
the Mantis actress?
no, Vanessa Kirby
Oh, okay.
playing
Playing
Grace,
Grace
disguised
playing.
as the White Widow.
Yes.
Like love
What a
that.
slay.
And then I love that the eyes don't change, so you can very
Yeah.
clearly tell which one's which.
Which
It-
seems sloppy, but I mean, from an audience perspective,
I like that you visually
I
always
like
know
it.
which one you're looking at.
Yeah.
And also, it
But
adds
also
to
just
the
the
whole feel of
acting.
the character because you're not supposed to like as the audience we know, and it's a really interesting
Yeah.
detail where it's like, and she feels off. She's clearly not this character she's trying to be.
but they don't know that.
But they don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, and they like constantly are like, "Are you feeling okay?" And then she has to be like, Are you feeling okay?" And it's I don't
Sassy.
know. It just
It
really works,
works.
especially within the context of the scene. I think it's just a really fun visual thing.
Yeah. And
love it.
I want to say this is the first time a woman has worn a mask in the franchise.
I believe
From
that's right.
what
They were
I can
supposed
remember.
to have one on for the scene in the the trade off in
Yep.
Rogue Nation.
Yep. And then
then
it
it broke.
broke. Yes. So we finally got it. It finally worked for a woman. I love that for them. It paid off really well.
But yeah, I love Vanessa Kirby's growth in this franchise. I love her role throughout this last one.
Two other characters introduced in this film go hand in hand. Gabriel, the big bad for Ethan. We very quickly learn when Ethan sees his face. Well, first of all, his introduction was really cool because they show later that he was there, but like somehow he's making himself invisible to the cameras, except he can't do that to mirrors. That's awesome.
I love the scene of it erasing him in real time, and it's just this like abyss in the camera. It's
almost like a Emma Frost in her diamond form kind of thing, except
Something
totally
similar to that.
transparent. I don't know. The visuals on that they were really cool. And then we very quickly learn that Ethan really does not like him.
Yeah,
he is a
I don't
big
even know
bad.
if they explained who he killed, but he killed someone really important to him.
Yeah.
Really early on in Ethan's life. And I think it's also implied that was the mission or like the thing that brought him into the IMF.
Oh, yeah, I think it was. Yeah. That's very interesting, and his connection to the entity is very interesting. And also, one of his, like, quote-unquote henchmen is Paris, who's played by the I can't for the life of me say her name. I'm so sorry. But it's the actress who plays Mantis in the MCU, and she kills it here.
Yeah, I know her name is... Pam Clementieff, I believe.
Okay. She's like awesome in this film. She has a very small role.
And she's so chaotic.
Yeah, but she's
like,
just
not
very
in the way
like
that Mantis is. It's like a very like violent.
Yeah, very like psycho, but I love it, and she's so like slay.
Yeah, I love
her outfits are slay. Her makeup in that one scene because she has like the mask.
Oh, she ate that. I was waiting for that to show up, and then it did, and I was like,
the skinny hallway thing. First of all, props to them for making an action scene in like a 2 feet wide hallway seem interesting, or alleyway. And then also just her little like look to him with the little I don't even know what you call it. The bar, yeah. That was so cool. The sound in that was really cool, and the way she played that, very
and then
scary.
I'm very excited for her to be on Ethan's team going forward.
Yeah.
Very excited about
because
that.
he saves her life, and then she helps him later, because then Gabriel and the entity don't trust her anymore, so they try to kill her. So then she's like, I'm gonna join Ethan's team. So
It's like, I'm telling.
And I was wondering, because I was like, she's like bleeding out right now and not doing well, but then they do make it a point to say, oh, she still has a pulse. So like, I mean, we can infer that means she's alive. Yeah. So if you don't see her die, she's not gonna die.
Yeah, and she's in the trailer for the next one.
Yeah. So very excited.
But all around super great. Oh, and then I love the stunt in this movie where he has to motorcycle drive off the cliff to like parachute on top of the train.
Yeah.
And then the train eventually derails, and they have to climb through the train.
Yep.
Oh.
Because also in real life, that was, I think, his most dangerous up until that point stunt, because they you really didn't know where the bike was gonna land.
Yeah.
So nothing was connected to the bike. I guess he really just let it fall.
I mean, what else do you
crazy.
do? Take it with you?
Yeah, no, exactly. I don't know. So that's kind of fun to read. I liked reading about the stunts. They were cool.
Yeah, so...
I would recommend it.
Yeah, this one is such a fun ride.
Yeah.
And it feels super inventive with, like, every single thing it tries to do. I think the AI overarching villain really works, and I think it's a really interesting change of pace. It allows some really fun things. The puzzle scene where they're trying to take out the nuke in the airport.
Yeah.
Love that whole addition to the scene. That was already great with the, like, running around the airport, finding someone, running and hiding again.
Yep.
Ugh, just all around. So awesome.
And it was really cool, all the reveals that gave with like, oh, they can hear us and they can control our equipment. It's a very scary villain, but it's also very much not a cop-out at all. And I think Gabriel adds a nice element to still have that physical,
like a human element
present
to it.
villain. Mm-hmm.
And it's very personal to Ethan now. And like to the core of like why he is what he is today. Very foundational.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be interesting to see it full circle, because I think Grace is also very much supposed to be, like, we talked earlier about her potentially
She's in
being
the
what
IMF
Ilsa
now.
is.
Yeah.
But I think it's supposed to be more, this is what Ethan was like whenever he first came in.
Yeah.
And I think it's not a mistake that we're entering the final reckoning.
Mm-hmm.
And, she's still just
true.
joining the IMF.
True.
So I think we're going to see her
Could
potentially
we
become
get a spin-off?
the next... you know, Ethan. It hasn't
We'll
worked
see,
for some
we'll
franchises. It'd be
We'll see if it
interesting.
works for John Wick. And I think maybe that'll...
That'll be an interesting,
interesting.
conversation. But this one comes out first.
Yeah?
So
Well, but this is not like a... This is not
it's
them
not an
trying to make...
official
Yeah.
of it, but
So
and I
I
don't
do
know if they're wanting to. I don't know if this is maybe
I don't
something
know.
we're gonna lightly touch on and be like, we're putting feelers out there. How would you feel if this was the franchise now?
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I don't
and
know.
I wonder what Tom Cruise thinks too, because obviously he would want to have his hands all over the project.
Sure.
But you know, he's been a
Is he
producer
ready-
on the
like, I'd be
films.
interested to know if he's ready to stop being Ethan.
Yeah.
If maybe he
Oh.
was like he did that last one. He was like
He probably
okay,
should be,
you have to tap in.
But yeah, he probably should be done. But I don't know. It's just so fun seeing him that I wouldn't mind
People
if he
will
wants to
watch
come
him
back.
do this until he's 80.
Oh yeah, he'll do
Until
this
you're
until he's
80.
80. Yeah, but yeah, he may make a choice of. I don't know. That'd be very interesting. Very cool discussion, and you know, we'll see if they set it up at all or tease that in this film. Because if his character dies, where do we go from here? But I mean, again, that's the eye roll about John Wick. Is so did John Wick. But oh well.
Yeah, so I think that's most of everything to be said about all those movies.
Yeah.
Do we have enough time to go through our rank?
Yeah, I also just want to, you know, kind of throw out there, the last film was not profitable. However, I do want to point out that I don't think it was because people are not interested in the franchise. I think that's because sometimes part ones can dissuade people because they're like, oh, well, then I have to wait for the part two. A lot of people on Netflix are saying that with their part one, part two model, that they just wait for part two, and I'm one of those people usually. So I do think it's smart that they're not advertising this as a part two anymore, so people don't feel like they have homework to do. Even though it is a franchise, you should watch them. But it's also because it came out like the week before, I think.
Yeah, the week
Barbie
right
and
before
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer dropped.
And it sucks because he was so supportive of that whole like wild, I don't even know what to call it, phenomenon.
Yeah, it was definitely a phenomenon.
event. And he was so supportive of it. And you know,
And he was really trying to be a part of it, which
yeah.
you know,
It's sad because I feel like he would do that anyways because he just loves movies. And so I feel like at the end of the day he was still happy, but I bet he was pretty bummed that his movie suffered because of that. But so we'll see now because Lilo and Stitch is coming out, and I'm wondering if they're gonna be competitors for each other or if they're different enough movies because they are
I
very
would love
different.
for him to have his Barbenheimer moment. I think this
well,
franchise
and it's
definitely
the start of
deserves
summer,
it.
so people have more time.
I would love that for this next movie.
Yeah.
I would love for it. I just know Lilo and Stitch is going to do better, regardless of the
Yeah.
quality of the film. It just will.
Yeah.
But I really hope it can be the Oppenheimer to that Barbie.
Yeah. Or it really, that's the Barbie to Mission Impossible's Oppenheimer. Wouldn't you feel?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That would be fun. We'll see if he posts about going to see Lilo and Stitch. That would be really funny, actually.
But then people are going to be like, no, he's jinxing it.
Yeah, maybe he should wait, and then, you know, after a good opening weekend,
Put the tickets away.
he should buy the little fur Stitch claw.
Oh,
Like,
actually,
go
that
see-
would be
that would be really
so-
funny.
If he was like, if they had some kind of like thing where he was sitting in a seat with Stitch.
Oh,
next to
that
him,
would be fun.
That would be pretty iconic.
Yeah. But anyways, we can
Ugh.
just get right into our ranking if you
right
want.
into our ranking. I'm so for it.
I feel like it's safe for us to say we're both like wildly excited for Final Reckoning.
Yes, I'm very excited.
'Cause yeah.
And like it's unfathomable to me that people
Yeah.
are starting to like we're hearing because I
weird,
haven't
weird
heard them.
stuff about it.
You're the one
Mhm.
hearing
I saw
stuff
2
about it.
tweets from people, you know, like they're not a page that posts movies. I don't even know how they watched the film. Maybe it's already playing at Cannes like by the time they posted it. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm taking it very, very lightly. And some of their complaints, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to have that complaint.
Sure.
So, like, because, I mean, other people did complain about how long the scenes were in a couple of the other films, but that didn't, it didn't pass the line for us, but it passed the line for other people, so maybe that's what's happening here.
Maybe.
That's what I'm going to tell myself. We'll see. Anyways, let's get right into our ranking.
So there's 7 films to rank, and
Yeah.
we're starting 7 to 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I guess I'll go ahead. Oh, do we want...
Same time.
Oh, right, we have our whiteboards.
Duh, we have to do it on our whiteboards. Okay.
Okay, okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Almost. There we go. Okay. 3, 2. Oh wait, no. I wrote the wrong one down. I wrote my first one down. I wrote my number one.
Wouldn't that have confused people?
No, for real. You would have been like, "What?"
Nope.
Okay.
I forgot the number 6. Hold on.
You're doing great. It's
I am.
numbers are hard.
They are really hard, okay? And
Yeah.
I'm trying my best. Oh, okay. 3, 2, 1. Mission Impossible. Oh my god, I put the wrong number. I told you numbers are hard. I don't know why.
Not us like struggling to do
I
a
know,
ranking.
we're struggling.
That's crazy.
2. Mission
2.
Impossible 2.
Fix it down there too. How dare you with number 3? That's crazy.
Yeah, it just, like we were saying, it's the only one that feels like a bad movie.
Yeah.
It tries to, it thinks it knows what was successful about the first one, and it's just incredibly wrong about that.
Yeah.
And so,
I agree.
And it has some great moments for sure. So, as someone who is going to watch it no matter what, there's some benefit from having watched it, but
Yeah.
still, it's just, I'm glad we haven't had a movie like that since.
Yeah, me too. Okay.
So. Okay, let me.
Drum roll, drum roll.
And
And
Mission Impossible, the original.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it just feels like the whole point of the movie is the break-in scene, and that's it.
Duh. No, I'm just kidding. No, I also really like the opening, and I know the opening's not your favorite. So
The opening I think is fine. I continue to think it's like... But even like the drop-down scene, like the most interesting part of this movie is like the equivalent of like the most boring part of some of these other ones.
Okay, and that's, an opinion.
I don't know.
It's okay.
I don't
It's
know,
fine.
man.
It's fine.
Oh, and I didn't even write it in the thing.
All right. I'm
Wait.
ready for number 5.
Okay, take us away and start talking about it so I can write mine down.
What?
Go for
That's
it.
crazy. I put Mission Impossible 1 as my 5th one. It's not that low, okay? It's gonna be okay.
And you're gonna blaspheme me.
Yeah, because I feel like 1 is better than 3, but it's fine.
Interesting.
fine.
My number 5 is Mission Impossible 3. So we flipped them.
That's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't.
They're both good. The second one's not, and every other movie is good. So
Yeah,
there
and
you
also
go.
these two are really close. I did give this one just a 0.5 higher than the other one.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I don't know. I think it starts the thread with Julia, and it introduces more characters that I
Okay,
could say
that's
their
fair.
name.
Yeah.
And I can remember their name, which I can't say any. I couldn't even tell you what they look like in the first one.
It's
They're-
about serving face.
I guess. So that's
Okay, I have my 4th one.
Hold on.
A,
A B C D E F G.
I have to go. Ghost
3, 2,
Protocol.
1. Oh, Mission Impossible Fallout.
That's actual blasphemy.
I
though.
know. This
That's
one's the
wild.
hottest take.
That's wild.
And it's, I don't know. Of the ones that are like the current standard for what this franchise is, it is my least favorite.
That's crazy. to me.
And it's still in the great section. Like the first 3 I think are in like
I'm just kidding.
the watchable to solid. This is the first one I would say is like a great movie.
Okay. Okay,
Next
I'm writing down the
is-
3rd one.
And what was your last one?
Ghost Protocol.
Okay.
I like Ghost Protocol. It was fun. It surprised me. It was lower, and I moved it up. So, yeah.
Okay.
Rogue
Ghost Protocol.
Nation. Yeah, Ghost Protocol is good. I
Yeah,
like
super
Rogue
fun.
Nation. I have to erase. We should get one of those that like you just like have to like flick something.
Yeah,
to,
if we were smarter, we'd have like a peel away thing
yeah,
like set up beforehand. But
it's
here we
okay.
go.
It's fine.
I need to just keep Mission
We need
Impossible at
like
the
you
top.
know those things where it's like they reveal what the top most Googled things about them, like celebrities, or like
Yeah.
what does
Yeah, the
Miley
POAs.
Cyrus? Yeah. We need that. We need to
Yes.
level up. It's gonna be fine.
Okay.
I'm ready with my number
3,
2.
2, 1. Rogue Nation.
Fallout.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I ended up.
I remember watching Rogue Nation and being like, "Oh my gosh,
This is great.
This is such a high point of this show, and it's one of my favorite movies of that year. If not, I think it actually might be the. Oh, I'm trying to remember what else
Top?
came out that year, but it was
Ooh.
it is one of my favorite movies that came out that year, and it was near a perfect score for me.
And finally, we have, for me, Dead Reckoning, and also for you.
Also for me, because it's the only one left, so I'm not even gonna write it.
Yeah.
But
What?
Dead Reckoning.
I'm writing it. There you
well,
go.
write it. I'll
YouTuber
finish out my
people.
list. Dead.
I care about y'all, YouTube people.
Yeah, here.
Love that for you.
See, here's my little list. 1 through 7. Yeah, and Dead Reckoning, I gave a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
It is among the 3 movies of 2023 I gave a perfect score to.
Mm-hmm. So there you go.
And it's my 3rd favorite movie of that year.
2023. We didn't know how good we had it. 2023 was a great year for
I
movies.
hate
Actually,
that
especially like blockbusters.
and I remember I wanted to see this. I didn't have the hype around it because I hadn't watched any of the other ones.
Yeah.
But I remember hearing so many people talk about it, and I was like,
Mhm.
I want to watch these movies, but I just like don't have the time or like.
Well, and then
have
again,
them.
then you had Barbie and Oppenheimer,
Yeah.
so it really did suffer for that. So
Yeah, but this is an amazing movie, and it's
Yeah.
right up there because it's this. This movie was beaten only by the Iron Claw and Barbie for me.
yeah, which amazing picks. I would probably also agree with that.
But
So
they're just so strong,
yeah,
and it's so sad to hear that this was the one that like
Flopped.
faltered.
Yeah.
It flopped. It was a
'Cause
flop.
it didn't make a profit.
Because
so
it's so good. It literally
Yeah.
had our president start
Which-
talking about AI control laws. And
Yeah.
it's like, literally, this is causing governmental
things,
changes.
yeah.
So it's.
Well, and it is crazy because I will point out it almost made I think $600 million. Its budget was just ridiculous.
yes. it was a
Ridiculous.
Crazy budget.
I mean, what was it like 290 or something? 290
$290
million.
million.
Wild.
And it only
I mean-
made $560 back.
That's
So it
crazy.
almost got to double the budget.
That's crazy. It really is. At the end of the day, I feel like also the budget's fault, not just its release fault.
And I
But I
mean-
will say it. I mean, it was because of COVID, and then
Sure.
also I heard something like Tom Cruise really took precautions
Which
for
valid.
COVID,
Please.
and that costs extra.
Yeah.
And then I think the strike was after that, right? The strike was like the
It was
following
after
year.
it was filmed because it happened right after Barbie.
Okay, yeah. So that
Because
didn't affect
literally
it, but
they
COVID.
stopped on the
so
Barbie like press
right,
tour like a
yeah.
couple weeks beforehand.
I remember that. So, yeah. Oh
don't
well,
know,
but
it's-
COVID. But you know what? If that means that they were safe and didn't get sick, then that's good for them.
Yeah.
So they can take it. All the other movies were profitable, so it was fine. It's fine. And this one's probably gonna be.
I
So.
really hope it is.
Really hope so.
I now am in love with this franchise.
Luckily, I think it's far enough away from Sinners.
Yes. I
And
would say
Thunderbolts,
so.
unfortunately, is not making as much buzz as we want it to, but it's good for this movie. So
Yeah, we'll see.
There you go.
I don't know. It has a different vibe than I would say Thunderbolts does, considering they're both in like the action adventure genre.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I think this one is more a standard action movie.
Well, and way
So-
more people are interested because I mean it's the final movie in a franchise, like beloved franchise. So
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm not
I've
as
never
worried.
been super into the sphere of
But-
these movies before, so
Yeah.
it'll be my first time and possibly last time. So it'll be very, very
Yeah.
interesting to see. So
yeah,
the least performing movie so far in this franchise was Mission Impossible 3, which only made $399 million.
Mm-hmm.
So if it can get to 400, it is not the
not
least
the lowest grossing.
profitable.
I
which-
think it totally will. So
I mean, to be fair, right now there's only 2 movies that have released this year that have passed
yeah,
400 million.
We'll see. Oh, what a year for movies.
It's crazy, and it's
Uh,
some people say it's the quality of movies. I think
I
it's
don't
also
think that's
just
true.
I think it's mostly just the damage that streaming has done, and that people just
Yeah.
are no longer going to movie theaters for anything.
Yeah, and in all the inflation, like it just is getting way worse, and so, yeah, it's just how it is. But then it's Tom Cruise. Believe in the power of Tom Cruise.
I gotta
because he
believe
will
him.
almost always win.
I
so.
told you this, but I actually met Tom Cruise in the Dreamscape.
Mhm. Yeah.
I constantly have a recurring theme in my dreams of being on a stage and
Mhm.
like either like in during a play or like right after a play.
Uh-huh.
And I was like having a dream of like tearing down a show that just closed,
Mhm.
and Tom Cruise was helping out. And I was like, hey Tom, big fan. I just watched all your movies.
He's
some
so
great
iconic
stuff."
that he even like infested your dreams, and I love that for him.
And you know what Tom Cruise told me? He told me that one of his favorite movies from last year was We Live in Time. So,
Period.
You know,
Period.
would love-
Has he even seen that in real life? I don't know.
You know what?
You know what? Probably.
I would.
If he loves movies that much,
I'm
probably.
gonna be so like I met him on the Dreamscape if I found out he's
Exactly.
like he's gonna
You're
put
like,
out a
"You heard it
tweet
here
someday and be like,
first, folks."
I loved this movie, and I'm gonna be like,
And
I know
and he
Tom.
told me.
We
You
talked
told
about
me.
this.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're best friends. Obviously.
You got in your
so-
Scientology machine.
Oh,
You went out into the Dreamscape,
we don't talk about that.
and you found me.
That's the only bad thing. Okay. Anyways,
But yeah, so
that's all our thoughts. And of course, we're gonna make a video about the new movie.
yeah,
Maybe, and you know, we'll do our ranking again with wherever that falls. So
yep,
See
very
if it
very excited
changes.
for that. I think it's gonna be interesting for me to see where it compares.
And this is your
to
first one you've seen in theaters.
First one in theaters.
That's so exciting for you. I love that.
Crazy.
I think Dead Reckoning was my first, and maybe Fallout, but definitely Dead Reckoning. I remember in theaters. So I'm so
very,
excited.
Very excited. Really
Yes.
interested to see how that versus
they-
Lilo and Stitch goes.
Yeah, and they've been hiding the stunts a little bit. It has not been lost on me that I
That's
don't
also
know some
true.
of their stunts. So I'm excited.
I'm
He's had
hoping-
some stuff up
I'm
his
hoping
sleeve.
there's a lot of surprises. We talked.
Yeah.
I think we had a conversation about, you know, can this be the last movie and Ethan lives?
Mhm.
We compared it to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, where you had some really satisfying goodbyes to characters, and it was them just
No
going off
deaths.
and leaving the team.
Yeah.
And it's still equally as emotional,
Mhm.
if not even more so.
Ugh.
Because it's a little more bittersweet than it is sad.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to see this. I'm actually maybe a little more worried for either Benji or Luther. I would say
Honestly?
almost more Benji.
Way more Benji for
Yeah.
me. I feel like Benji's like a for sure goner.
I-
Unfortunately,
and
I
I
feel like it's like a
love
middle of the
Benji.
movie kind of thing. Unfortunately.
I know, and
I'm
that
scared
one's
for
gonna
him.
get me.
But
I
honestly,
love
he has
Benji
held
so
on
much.
a lot longer than I thought he was. There were several times
Bro, he
where
got
he
approved
like,
for the field.
yeah, when that bomb was, I was like, he's gone, he's a goner, but he wasn't. So I don't know.
So,
We shall see. Will he prevail?
We shall see. We're very excited for this. So
Nothing's a guarantee.
So stay tuned for Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning
Yeah.
coming out. It's May 30th, right?
23rd.
23rd. I keep getting
I
mixed
think
up.
Karate Kid is May 30th.
Right.
We'll see how that goes. We also have not heard good things about that.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's fine. It's fine.
But
Yeah.
officially
Let
caught
us know
up.
if you want to do a video on those movies. Actually, we haven't talked about that, but maybe we'll see if we have time to do that.
Yeah.
Nice.
And let us know what your favorite Mission Impossible is, or
Yeah.
if you wanted to drop your ranking. I would love to see what y'all
Me
think about
too.
these movies.
That'd be really cool.
So
Yeah.
until next time, I'm your host Luke,
I'm your other host, Alicia.
and thank you guys so much for watching Not So Straight Nerds.
Bye.